What's up, everyone? It is your girl GLBeauty 87 here, aka Grace, and it's time for another underrated versus overrated. So I got a few products today. I got some face stuff for once. I got some lip stuff. So I got a variety of stuff. Actually, I only have like I think 2 to 3 eyeshadow palettes, and y'all know this is usually like a palette based video, but today it is not. So bravo me for finding some other stuff, I guess. But without further ado, let's get into it, girl, because it's me, so I'm gonna talk over it. Okay, so overrated versus underrated. I feel like I hear people talking about this Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Hydrating Primer a lot more than I hear about the Nars Radiant Primer with SPF 50. I feel like they both do about the same thing. They both have 1 fluid ounce. This one's out of stock a lot, so maybe I'm just in the wrong with this one. But I feel like this one is more affordable compared to this one, because this one was 50 and I think this one was only 39. So it gives you a little bit more wiggle room in your budget, and I feel like this one is nice and hydrating and radiant as well. And plus this one has SPF, whereas this one does not. It's just a hydrating primer. So if I had to pick one, I would honestly pick the Nars one. I like the Giorgio Armani one. It's just I feel like I like the fact that this has SPF in it, and they do the same thing because my face looks nice and hydrated and radiant with this as well. So I would just say I would go with the Nars over the Giorgio Armani, if anyone cares. So on to the next primer. So underrated versus overrated. I feel like this, what is it, the Dior 24-hour Blurring Matte Primer Long Wear Comfort is really similar to this Liquid Poreless Putty Primer from e.l.f. When I first saw them both together, I was thinking more of the Tatcha one, because you know they started the putty primer in the tub trying to copy the Tatcha primer, which I like the Tatcha primer better, just FYI. With this one, I do feel like this one is somewhat comparable to that, but I feel like it's also really comparable to this one, and I feel like this was supposed to be Dior's version of the Tatcha Liquid Silk Canvas. But I do like the Dior one better, just feel like feel like it blurs a little bit more, and I like that it does have the matte finish to it, whereas I feel like this one doesn't have a matte finish to it. In my opinion, it has more like a satin matte finish, or a satin finish, if you will. So I prefer the finish on this, and I do feel like this one does a little better job with blurring than this one. But if you want a good alternative to the Tatcha or to this Dior primer, I definitely feel like you should hear about this one. The funny thing is, I feel like I don't really hear about this one that much, but I hear about this one a ton. So I want to show them both to you. You can make your decision. Next, underrated versus overrated, I have the new Fenty Ease Drop Blur and Smooth Tint Stick Foundation. And then y'all know I got my tried and true Thread Facing Complexion Stick in the shade 130 Medium Warm Golden. This is a repurchase because y'all know mine was cracked to have and all that. I actually used up a complete one and went and bought a new one. Now the thing with these is you'll get a little bit more coverage with the Thread one than you will with the Fenty one. I wear the shade 20 in the Fenty, in the liquid and in the stick. My whole thing with this is it just depends on what kind of coverage you want. I gave y'all swatches and comparisons of this in the Fenty video that I did, along with a couple of other things we're actually gonna talk about, because everything that was in that video I actually have a dupe for, so how about that? But I like this one because it gives more coverage, and I feel like it's the same consistency. It's a little heavier on the skin because it's giving more coverage than the Fenty one is. I feel like this one smooths out a little bit easier, but I prefer having more coverage with this one, so I prefer this one over this. And when I want to have this type of vibe, I usually just use a liquid because I feel like you get more bang for your buck. Both of these are both $35, and you get way less in here than you do in the liquid. So I would say just stick with the Thread stick, and if you want to try that, then get the liquid because you're going to get more bang for your buck. But both of them look nice on the skin. I've swatched them and compared them. I want to do a comparison video with both of these. You can comment down below and let me know if you're interested in that or not. I'm just put them to the side for now, and y'all can tell me what's going on with that. But on to the next product. So I have underrated versus overrated. So this is the new Juvia's Place bronzer. I got the shade Amber. These are made in Italy. They do have shimmer in them, so just keep that in mind against the ABH Cream Bronze in the shade Chestnut. So both the shades actually look really spot on and similar. I was using this a lot before I start talking about the brand and not anything, so don't be alarmed by the large dip that's in it. I had this for quite a while before the Ukraine comments came out about ABH or whatever, but this is what they look like. The colors are very similar in tone. It's just this one has shimmer in it. I gave y'all swatches in Natural Sunlight that you should see on GLBeauty 87 Instagram before this goes live, to be able to compare the tones and all that. So I would say both the formulas are just as nice. The ABH one is a little bit smoother than the Juvia's Place one, but for the price point I feel like it's fine. This is 30 ounces and this is 1 ounce, so you get more in here than you get in this one, but again, this one is only I think like $18, and this one's like 30 something. So it's like if you buy 2 of these, that would equal 1 of these, and this is a more affordable price point for people. And a lot of people don't go through cream products, which is another reason I feel like it's okay to get the more affordable one, especially since it has the same tone of color. Just keep in mind that they're shimmering. Now the shimmer isn't really noticeable when you swatch it, it's noticeable, but personally I feel like when you blend it out on the skin, you don't see it, and then when you add a powder on top of it, obviously it's not going to make too big of a difference. So next, underrated versus overrated, I have the new LYS Natural Finish Skin Loyalty Blur Mattifying Setting Makeup, set makeup setting spray up against the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. I feel like they both do about the same thing. I feel like the LYS one tightens up on the skin the way the Charlotte Tilbury does when you spray it, and I feel like they give the same blurring effect and hold back oils pretty well. So it just depends on which price point you want to pay. The LYS one is 3.3 ounces, and I think this was only $24 or $28. Whereas y'all know Charlotte Tilbury, I believe, is like in the 40s. She just came out with a jumbo one that's like $50 something. So you might want to try the LYS before you go ahead and get that one. I know the owner recently had a 35% off sale on their website to celebrate the owner's birthday, and LYS is already an affordable brand, so maybe just wait till the Sephora sale if you don't want to pay the regular 20 whatever it is and get it on a great deal. But I definitely feel like it's comparable to the Charlotte Tilbury, even down to the packaging. So how about that? I think they kind of give us a hint with the packaging, like hint hint, buy this instead, hint hint. Next, I got a couple of lip products. So it's underrated versus overrated. Now unfortunately this one is limited edition. This is the shade Peach Ring from Fenty, Peach Ring from Maybelline, alongside Taffy Tease from Fenty. I feel like it could be possibly really similar to the peach shade as well, but I don't have the peach shade here, so I feel like this looks similar enough to compare them to. The only thing is I feel like the Fenty one is a little bit more pigmented and gives you a little bit more color, but again, for the price point of it compared to the Fenty one, I would definitely say it's a great, you know, alternative. And now swatching them on my hands, they actually look pretty similar, and the Maybelline one looks like it might be a little bit more pigmented, so how about that? So this is the Maybelline one, and this is the Fenty one. So as you can see, they're both giving kind of like a peachy-ish glow off the lips, and I feel like if you put it on top of a nice peachy lipstick or a peachy nude, it would come across nicely. But they're similar tones, and y'all know the Maybelline one is like 10 bucks, whereas the Fenty ones are like in the 20s. So just something to keep in mind. I have another overrated versus underrated. Now I feel like the Fenty one wins with this just because it is a cream one. It's supposed to be more pigmented. This is the shade Fruit Snack, and then I have the shade Taffy and Maybelline. And again, these are limited editions, so just bear that in mind too. So if you want to try the Maybelline one, you have to go in store and get your hands on it soon. You can go in Walmart and get it, or you can buy it on Amazon. I bought mine on Amazon because the Walmart by my house didn't have them. I feel like the Walmart by my house doesn't have too much of anything, and it took forever for them to get to Walmart, so I was just like, I'm gonna just have to buy them from Amazon. And y'all know I don't buy from Amazon. If you're new here, then I'm not a person who purchases from Amazon every time you look up. Like, I'm trying to go in store and get it myself and handle my own business. I don't really rock with Amazon like that, so my Amazon list is, like, I'm sure very short compared to a lot of other people's out there. But anyway, this is what the colors look like. So this is Taffy at the top, and this is Fruit Snack at the bottom. As you can see, they're both quite pigmented, and they both seem to be the similar shades. So I'm just like, okay. So I thought that would be a great alternative, especially because fall is coming, and you might want to put like shades like this on top of a darker lipstick to make it more vampier and give that more because I know I like doing that in the fall. So I'm liking having both of these in my collection to be able to do both of them with. So I left the majority of the Maybelline ones here just so I can have an alternative for when I want to do that. And of course, y'all know my Fenty's were staying at home, so that's what they say. Okay, so let's get into the palettes, because I only have, yeah, I said 3 to 4, and I was right. I have like 4. So this is underrated versus overrated. Now, in all fairness, I did change this one around. I complained about the orange so much till I just put an orange in there. Only thing is, it's constantly breaking up. So like the orange didn't stay in there well. That's the orange shade right there. But I'm comparing it against the Ensley Reign palette because it has an orange of its own already. I just wanted a brighter orange because this palette without that bright orange, they still look pretty similar in my personal opinion. So that's what both of them look like. I'm definitely here for it. It's a whole vibe. If I had to pick one, I would pick the, I guess I'd go ahead and pick the Natasha one, even though it doesn't necessarily have the color I want, just because the Colored Rain one is limited edition and constantly just comes back every once in a full moon. So I picked the Natasha one so that way I know I could permanently have those colors in my collection, and if something happened to the palette or if it got old, I could repurchase it. Whereas with that one, you might not necessarily be able to do that. Next, underrated versus overrated. This is the Agate palette versus the Petite Forest Violetta palette. This was a holiday palette that they came out in 2022, I want to say. And I feel like these colors look pretty similar in tone. And this was a holiday palette from ColourPop, funny enough. Now, I feel like they're similar in tone. They're not exact. Obviously, it doesn't have the blues that this one does. But I feel like if you just wanted more of a purple-esque vibe and feel that you could get the same thing out of the ColourPop one. Now, unfortunately, I think they don't make either one of these anymore. Or if they do, I think they only make the Dizzy Art one. But if you can catch a ColourPop one on somebody's clearance rack, and I feel like it might be a good deal for you. Sorry, the packaging was breaking, so I was over here on the struggle bus trying to close it. The ColourPop one, because y'all know they be coming up with cheap plastic packaging, but you know, alas. Next, underrated versus overrated. These are from the Unearthly Cosmetics box. So if you got it, then you already know this is the chilling one. This is from the Halloween palette from 2022, I want to say. Or was it 2021? Because I think it was 2022, because in 2021, I think that's when we got... No, it's 2021, because in 2022, that's when we got the... all three palettes, or was that 2023 and 20? Child, I told y'all after 2020, it was just a wrap. But see how similar these colors are? I'm getting the new quads that are coming out in the future, just FYI. But I want you to see how close in tone these were. So if you already own, rush out and get the Kaleidos palette. You just don't need to do it because you know you already have a similar color story. So I think these live in my house, or do they live here? I honestly don't remember. Just throw them all in the bag. So next, underrated versus overrated I have is the Sydney Grace and Tentalia palette up against this BH Cosmetics F Off palette. So I feel like the color stories in here are very similar. This is the Quintessentials palette. And I feel like people talked about both these palettes, but I don't know. I feel like people didn't talk about the Sydney Grace one as much as they should have. So as you can see, the color stories are somewhat similar. At least in my personal opinion they are. They have like those same blues and purples and grays and kind of greenish tones. So I feel like I want to compare them side by side. I actually want to do a palette mashup of both these together now looking at them, because I feel like each one of them has something to offer that the other one doesn't, that will make it a nice combination. So those are just my thoughts. I believe you can still get the Tentalia collection from Sydney Grace. I got all mine in the deep shade, of course, because I didn't need the light shade. But I really like both of the color stories for different reasons, and I feel like they'll go together nicely. And I just wanted to show you that if you had one in your collection, you might not necessarily need the other one. I love to do that with palettes. So is that it? Yeah, that's all I had to talk about in today's video. That's why I made my card cut off at the very end when I was on the last set of palettes. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. Remember, you all are diamonds, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.